ladies, if you're anything like me, which if you're watching my crazy weird channel with this weirdo, I'll assume that you're a little bit like me. So if you're anything like me, I assume that you have at one time or another given some dude or some friend or some family member the silent treatment. And you know why? Because you're mad. And you're mad because they didn't do what you want, right? And that's natural. They're not understanding what you need. They're not doing the things that you want them to do. So you're upset and you don't want to talk to them. They're being mean. They're not doing things right? Okay, I see where you're coming from because I used to do that all the time. My poor ex-boyfriends, circa previous 2 years ago, oh, I feel so bad for them. She's awful. Anyway, I felt so bad for my boyfriends now that I look back because I expected these poor guys to read my mind. That is what the silent treatment ultimately ends up being, usually. I would literally expect them to read my mind because I didn't communicate what I wanted. And then when they didn't read my mind correctly, I would get like hella salty and then I wouldn't talk to them for like a minute. It was bad. And it's kind of funny because now that I'm talking about it out loud and you guys are hearing it, you're probably like, damn, I do that too. Ooh, not a good look. Yeah, exactly. It's not a good look. So what I want to communicate in this video is just that for any relationship, be it romantic, personal, professional, friendship, anything like that, business relationship, whatever, we have to learn how to communicate our needs and do so effectively. So, like I said, a couple years ago, I decided that I would never have another relationship where I expected someone to do a certain thing without me communicating exactly what I want them to do. So, the flip side of that is, though, I would communicate and I will communicate very well. I'll say exactly what I want. And maybe almost to the extent that it's a little too blunt, but let's just be real. Guys can be kind of dumb sometimes. Sorry. People can be kind of dumb sometimes. That's who we are. We're not the same person. We can't read minds. We don't always know what other people want, whatever. So I can be very blunt. It kind of makes people mad sometimes, whatever. But I'm communicating and I'm trying to be pretty nice in the process as much as I can. Might be overly communicating my needs, but I'm doing it. So that's the first part. One person communicates their needs, right? But then the other side is it's the other person's choice whether they follow through with what that person wants or some variation of it in their own way, or if they just choose to ignore it and not to. Now, the person who communicated their needs has every right at that point to react to the other person's reaction because the other person wasn't expected to read their mind. So if that person is told, hey, I'd really like to go out for ice cream tonight, and they say, oh, well, I'm tired, I just want to sit on the couch. The person who wants to go out for ice cream has every right, well, that looks silly, to react in the way that they feel appropriate. That's up to them. But at least they didn't just sit there on the couch next to that person and never say, hey, what I'd really rather do right now is go out for ice cream. And then get huffily and puffily with the other person not reading their mind that they want to go for ice cream. I always want ice cream, by the way. But so the other thing is, how are you going to resolve that conflict then? So person A wants to go for ice cream. Person B literally just says, hey, I'm sitting on the couch. So how does person A respond to that? That's the question. And That's kind of another video, but we have a couple more minutes, so I'll just dive into that right now. I think that's a great time to compromise, probably. Say, hey, I understand that you're tired. Use a little bit of empathy. Say, you know, if it's cool with you, I would love it if you joined me for ice cream. If you'd like, we can just grab it and then we can bring it back here and eat it on the couch together and watch the show that you want to watch. That's compromise to me. If that person still says no, then depending on how person A is feeling that night, they might be perfectly, you know, valid to be upset. Or maybe person B has, you know, a really big work day the next day and it's 11 o'clock at night in these circumstances and they need to be up early. And maybe they're like, hey, sorry, let's do that on Friday. I would love to take you on a date to get ice cream and then we can go do whatever we want to do. Another happy resolution. But the first step to even getting to some sort of resolution is communicating the first set of needs that will set off that other set of reactions. The only horrible thing you can do for your relationship is not communicate your needs and to assume that communication is always conflict. And I've just had that recently in a relationship and it was awful. Like anytime that I would try to communicate what I wanted or what I needed to be happy, I would be seen as like needy or annoying, or they would just like give in or be huffy or whatever. But it was never like a conversation. It was awful. And I'm just trying to make things to where you don't have to read my mind. That's it. Like, it's the adult thing to do. So if someone ever tries to communicate their needs to you, just receive it. You don't have to not respond. You can respond with how you feel and your wants in return. And you can either compromise, do exactly what they want, or have them do exactly what you want. But that's a relationship. A relationship is communication and talking without yelling. It doesn't have to be conflict. It doesn't have to be bad. It can be just good, forward, motivation, movement, positive things, all of the good stuff. So please don't be afraid of communication. Communication is a beautiful thing. And then maybe the punchline is that if that communication isn't being well received or well reciprocated or no resolution is ever happening, you might have to do what we did in my last relationship and break up, TBH. And that's just assuming that it's a, you know, a romantic relationship. It might be a professional relationship or whatever, and you'll probably have to handle things a little bit more diplomatically. But needless to say, people communicate differently. Try to rise above a lot of the ways that other people communicate and learn your own positive style for yourself. Because it's really hard. And life is really hard. But if you learn empathy and how to show people how you need to be treated, you'll notice that the way that they react to you becomes a lot more in line with the way that you want them to react to you. We're in some smart people stuff right now. Very smart people stuff. So again, when something comes into your mind that you want to do and it starts to be kind of important to you, just say it, communicate it, and go from there. Don't be offended if it takes a little while for your partner or your friends or your family to get used to that, because it's a new thing probably, but they will love that you're not doing the silent treatment anymore. And everything's a learning curve. Everything good is a learning curve. It's all growth. So I believe in you. Anyway, this is Megan Summer. Please subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more videos. And if you have any questions for me that you'd like to see me answer in the form of video, just drop them in the comments or email me. That link will be in my bio. And yeah, hit subscribe. I will talk to you all soon.